Okay, welcome back to the Vulnerability is Cool podcast. I am so excited for today's guests. We have Gabi and Laurel from Lost Girls, and they're so amazing. And I was telling them that I found them through a mutual friend, and then I've been seeing all the Secret Labs and Mormon Wives post about you guys, and I've been following you for a while, and I just wanted to have you on the pod to talk about all the cool things you're doing. I feel like we're very aligned in like our missions, and so yeah, let's just get a little bit into it. Well, actually, before we start, I want to take a deep breath with you guys, and then also with our guests, okay? We're gonna take 2 deep breaths, okay? So we're gonna close our eyes, take a deep breath in, and breathe out. Another deep breath in, and breathe out. Beautiful. Okay, I actually wanted to start with one question. I just remembered. So I just want to know what you guys are like most passionate about right now. Like, are you fixated on anything? I just threw that at them. I didn't warn them.
Fixated on?
Oh gosh,
candles. That's for me.
Okay.
I've been like obsessed with candle scents lately.
that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm a smell girl.
Yeah, that's
What's your
amazing.
favorite right now?
I just got, so I'm going to say it wrong, like forest fir or something like that. It's like a Christmassy one, but I'm
said
obsessed
that
with
correctly.
it. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's my new favorite scent.
it's amazing.
It's my obsession.
I've been obsessed with bagels.
Oh,
This is like actually the epitome of our friendship. Candle scents and bagels. You were not expecting that, and I know it.
honestly, perfect.
And cream cheese. Plain bagel, plain cream cheese.
If you want a glimpse
Don't
into
give
our
me-
Marco Polos, it's this.
Don't give me strawberry cream cheese. Just plain.
Okay, love it. Is there like a certain place you go, or you just make them at home?
My friend's been making me like homemade ones, and I love
Who
them.
the hell's been making you homemade bagels?
Sadie has shout out Sadie Gunter.
Why am I not getting bagels?
More special.
That's the tea right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text her after this right now.
Okay, well, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I want to dive into like both of you and kind of your stories and what led you to Lost Girls and what you're doing today. And what I do know, first thing, is that you guys met in 5th grade.
Well, I feel like our story is like so layered, but I guess I'll kind of go into childhood experience a little bit because it kind of goes into bonded and all of that. So when I was 7, my mom passed away from cancer. And so that was obviously horrible and not fun. And
Did you know it was going to happen, or was it like kind of a surprise?
she was really sick, like
Okay.
her whole life, kind of. Like she had like 3 different types of cancer, and she died from ovarian.
Like, do you always remember her being sick?
There's a few memories I don't, but a lot of it was her being sick and me like laying in bed with her and like watching Seventh Heaven and Oprah, you know, just like kind of like just in bed, you know, or reading. Like there wasn't really a lot of like activity. And so, then that was really, really bad. I kind of shut off after that, I think on like a subconscious level. I think as a kid, you know, especially your mom, it's like, where the freak did you go?
Yeah.
You know, like what's happening? And then like 6 months after that, I got into a really horrible car accident and almost died. And so that was all in like 2nd grade. And so 2nd grade was wild. I had to like wear an eye patch around after because I saw double.
So
It was
sad.
literally the worst thing.
Oh,
Like it was so bad. And my poor class, like they were like, what the freak is going on? Like, you know what I mean? Like her mom just died and then she almost died. And I had to get like a shunt put in my head to save my life at that age. So just physical trauma, emotional trauma, whatever. That was a big thing for me. My dad got married really fast after that. I think he was married by the time I got into my car accident.
wow. Yeah.
Oh, crap.
That's like a rough timeline. But anyways, so he got remarried. I got 2 new sisters. The sister, Kenny, that knows.
Oh,
the
okay.
girl. And which was great. But my stepmom was not so great. Like she was pretty bad. And pretty emotionally abusive, like my whole childhood, like in teenagers and stuff.
Did you know her before?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So she was my mom's really good friend.
Oh, okay. Of course.
A really, really good friend. And good friend. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like I have no idea. And so, yeah, that was pretty interesting. It kind of just like, you know, and at the time it was like, oh, this is cool. This is like, you know, I'm getting two sisters that have always kind of been my sister. And this lady that's always been around, like, you know, it just felt like comfortable.
Yeah.
As a child, you know, totally.
And like you didn't know anything
I didn't
really
know anything.
different.
And
at
I
that
said,
point.
I just want to be loved.
Yeah.
And that's all kids really need, you know, and that's all I wanted. And I got some sort of love, you know, I got an aspect of it.
How many siblings do you have? Like full siblings?
Full siblings, I have one.
Okay.
I have 9 total. So
Wow.
I have like half in step, but only one biological.
Okay.
And he's like 6 years younger than me. Yeah, that's a whole other story with him. But anyways, so 4 years go by and my dad, it was like conference weekend, they come back, he was like sick for a few months, like just like tired. They thought he had mono, you know, they tested him for all this stuff, and they came back and they're like, he has leukemia. And that was when I was 12. And so like 4 years later, and as a kid, this is where it's like, so my mom dies and you're really young, right? Like, so it's kind of like you just kind of adapt. Oh yeah, and then it was funny. I was reading through my journals the other day. I was really good at journaling at that age. And it was funny seeing grief at that age being portrayed, because even then I was kind of like in denial. And because I would write in my journal every day, and I didn't write about my mom dying until like 2 months later.
Aww.
Like I literally was like,
yeah, BTW.
no, I did. That's literally what it was. It was like, oh man, because my mom's favorite holiday is Halloween. Her birthday's in October. So that, and just a huge deal to her, was like head of the PTA at my elementary school, like did this whole Halloween carnival. So that comes around and I'm like, oh, my mom died. Like I like wrote, I'm like, oh, like, by the way, journal, you know, dear journal, my mom died a month ago or whatever. And it was like, what? Like, it's like, you know, you just kind of do that.
Yeah.
And even as a kid, even though it feels different and emotions are different, you know, it's like, you're still dealing with shit.
Yeah.
And you're processing in different ways. And so I'm very passionate about that as well, kids and experiencing grief and trauma and how to recognize that and not just think like, oh, they're fine, they're laughing, they're whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like there's so much stuff going under the surface. But yeah, anyway, so sorry, went back and forth there. But then my dad, so he got diagnosed with cancer. He told us, and I remember thinking like, there's no way that God takes my dad. There's no freaking way. Like that doesn't exist, you know? I didn't even know any of my friends that one of their parents died.
Yeah.
And I was like,
were you closer with your mom or dad before
I was
your
closer
mom
with
passed?
my mom.
Okay.
I was closer with my mom. My dad was a workaholic, very like, not absent, but also avoiding a lot of his stuff, you know?
And when he got married so fast, like did they like have a lot of issues in their marriage because like they kind of just jumped in so fast? Did you feel like
it was there's a whole story that's been portrayed to me that's like, my mom told him to get married, which I think was a lie. And because I've heard from other people since then that like that wasn't true. And they possibly could have been having an affair before. Like it was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just recently unraveled all of this in the last few years. So yeah, I think my dad, and I have a deep love for my dad, especially now, like being able to feel like connected to him on the other side. But
so he did pass.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my.
So sorry, skip the story. He was sick for 2 months. I didn't see him again after they came and told us that he was sick at the house. And so they just left, went to the hospital. We weren't allowed to go see him because he was like sick and they didn't want him to like get more sick. It was just really weird. The whole situation was handled horribly. And I blame my stepmom for a lot of that. Like it was like, you took everything from me and you didn't even think about his daughter that just lost her mom, that now is, you know, it was a lot of stuff. But yeah, he died December 2nd. So conference weekend in October to December 2nd. It was very quick and very shocking.
Did you get to see him before, did you say?
No.
So you didn't even get to say goodbye?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Wait, how old are you now?
29.
No, sorry. In this story?
12.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was older. It was more like in my face, you know, at that age, you're like, who am I? What do I like? You know, and I love to like dance. I love to play soccer then.
Wait, sorry. I'm sure you're going to get to this, but then you're just forced to be with your stepmom now?
Yeah. So yeah, it was just like my dad's family like tried to fight for custody and all of this stuff. And to me as a kid, I'm like, you can't take me away from my sisters because I love my sisters. I love them.
Yeah.
They helped me survive most of that. And I love them. And so, oh man, I could go into so much about her, my stepmom. She's like a huge chunk of my trauma, which is interesting because it's like my parents died, but she's like a huge effect.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, especially because that's like you're processing that with her.
Yes.
So with both, with your mom's death and your dad's death. So.
Yep. And so I'm like hearing these lies, I'm hearing these things. It's like, whatever. But what was I talking about? Oh,
I don't know. I'm just listening.
But yeah, so then my family was trying to fight for custody and I was like, no, I want to stay with them.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to leave
Do you feel like your dad's family saw how she
Yes,
was? Okay.
everyone
So
did.
they were like, please.
Everyone and their dog did around it. My mom's friends, my dad's family, no one was supportive of it. Like, no, everyone saw right through it. And my dad was like a really like, was like a well-known person in the community, like very successful in his business. And I think everyone was like, what's happening? Like, how can like such a smart man choose this? And yeah, it was horrible, honestly.
Do you think he didn't really know?
I think she's really manipulated.
Okay.
Like, she's very manipulative and, again, dealing with his own stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like, he had his own stuff from his childhood he didn't work through.
Totally.
And it just was showing up.
Probably never even tapped into it at all.
Didn't touch it.
Yeah.
Didn't touch it. And so he just was like, whatever, doing whatever he could, you know, to survive and whatnot. So, and I have grace for him with that. But it just was a really insane time, you know? And I think dealing with that, honestly, I don't think, even like, I think as a kid, it's like I just processed everything through playing with my friends. Like, that's all I did. I survived with my friends.
Would you talk about it at all? Like either parent really with people? Like, did your friends really know what happened? And like,
It's a great question for you. Did I talk about it?
You were so avoidant.
Yeah.
She was just in survival.
Yeah.
Like, she'd be like, hey, my parents are dead.
oh my God.
And it was like, okay. None of us knew what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. And also with my stepmom, it was all about her. There was not room for me.
Yeah, there wasn't room.
So she's a narcissist.
Yeah, essentially. And so it was like, this is my grief. My husband died. There was no validation for me. No room
My
for
poor
me.
heart just aches for little you. Like, that is so sad.
Yeah, it was, it wasn't fun. Yeah, it was pretty bad. And it like, yeah, she's caused just a lot of it for me, like a lot of my trauma, interestingly enough. I actually talked to her this summer for the first time. I like cut her off when I was like 24, and I talked to her this summer, and I got to say everything that I wanted to, and that's really all I needed, because I feel like she took away my power for so long.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was parented with guilt and shame. Like, there was so many times where it was like, well, your parents are disappointed in you because I got a tattoo, or I did this, and it was like, how dare you like use my parents against me?
And like, you're dead. Like, they would never feel the way that you're saying.
No. And I'm like, logically, lady, you don't know that.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea. But she didn't know how to parent because she also didn't deal with her own stuff. So it's like, you don't know how to emotionally be there for a kid. Anyways, yeah, it was pretty bad. But yeah, I just think I played to deal with my grief, and I tried to, I avoided. Relationships was a really big thing that I was boy crazy.
Oh, I'm sure. Trying to fill that void.
Yes.
Yeah.
6th grade, my dad died. 2 years later, got my first boyfriend, and was like, oh my gosh, I feel loved. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, but I was so obsessed with him because it was like, you don't really know what's going on. And so I discouraged dating young. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's kind of like that was long. Sorry. Cut
No, it's
stuff
perfect.
out.
No, it's like totally fine. We love it.
But yeah, so 5th grade, like that was right before my dad died, and Gabi and I, we were in different classes, right? Mm-hmm. And we weren't like super close in 5th grade. We just kind of like.
I don't remember 5th grade. So.
Were you in Mrs. Washburn's class?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
What can I say?
You remember 5th grade. I remember more 6th grade with us.
Okay. Yeah, 6th grade, Gabi and I were in the same class.
Yeah.
And that was when my dad died.
Yeah.
I was in 6th grade. And so I don't remember a lot of 6th grade. But yeah, Gabi has memories of my dad's funeral.
Yeah.
Wow.
I said, holy crap. Yeah, I just remember, like, I remember sitting at lunch. It was elementary school, and I was opening my chocolate milk. And Maddie and Kenny and Laurel were sitting in front of me.
Those are my sisters.
Those are my sisters. And I was like, why aren't you guys eating? And they're like, we're fasting because, like, our dad's sick. And I was like, that sucks. Like, I just ate in front of you. Like, that's literally all I remember was like, that sucks. Drinking my chocolate milk, like, la la la. And then I remember your dad died, and I remember being in the backseat going to the funeral, and I was asking my mom questions about, are we going to see the body? Like, I just was scared to see your dad's body.
I mean, kids in death, it's like, you don't, like, it's so crazy.
It's so confusing for us.
It's so
like,
confusing.
and it's got to be 10 times
I
as
was
confusing
like,
for them.
yeah, I just remember not really knowing what to do. And that was like the extent of our friendship until my mom died. And then I said, oh, oops. So yeah, it was really crazy watching her go through that. But she did a good job, like in the sense of like, she kind of only had herself. And I mean, you had a good group of friends, like we all loved you so much, but we didn't really know what to do. You know what I mean? None of us had lost someone. And so it was kind of just like, if she wanted to talk about it, we'd listen. But if she didn't, we just didn't. So.
And yeah, I feel like people don't understand that you actually do want to talk about that person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like until you lose someone, you really don't understand.
Until you lose someone, you're just like,
so
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do.
Had you like never done like, did you like ever turn to substances during like any of this time? No. Oh, that's good.
No, I didn't.
You turned to boys.
I turned to boys and religion.
Yeah.
And
okay.
religion.
Oh, of course.
But yeah. Also, I went to therapy one time after my dad died. And my stepmom is the one that took me. And she told me that the therapist said that I didn't need therapy and then I just needed to be loved. And that was it. I didn't get to be loved. There were so many times in high school.
Just poke me?
What? We literally were like in the car and after high school and she was like, it's Tana. Oh, don't include her name.
Okay.
My stepmom was like, with Gabi in the car, being like, it's so much harder to love like not your biological kids. With me and her, and she didn't even realize it, and multiple times that happened.
But she didn't realize it, or
I don't know.
Laura was sitting right there, and like she was just like, it's hard. Like it's just easier to love your kids that are biological than those that aren't. And I was like,
this makes me want to cry.
She's right there.
And like narcissistic abuse is so crazy. Like it is so crazy, especially for a child because you don't understand. No. And then they make every problem is on you. Like they do absolutely nothing wrong. They're perfect. Like they never admit to being wrong. Like
mother narcissistic abuse is a different ballgame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
I just can't even imagine like little you. Honestly, I'm surprised you're at where you're at today. Like shocked with all of this. That's so insane.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I like people like this that I guess were raised in the church. Like I'm grateful in a sense that we weren't like raised without religion, because I think in my situation, I don't know if you can agree, like I think I would have turned to substance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's what I say all the time when I talk about the church is that like that it gave me structure to survive.
Yeah.
No matter how either it was bad or good or whatever, it gave me structure. And I appreciate that.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Getting out of the house, I got to go on a mission and I just got to leave, you know? So, I mean, the second I got back, everything went to shit. Like literally at the airport. It was horrible. But it just, for a second, I got like the time to, you know, go away and to, you know, be by myself and find myself. And I'm grateful for the church in that way. And I'll always say that. Like, it's like, it gave me that and I'm very grateful for it. So, for that period.
Yeah, totally. So you guys met in 5th grade, but where were you at in your life? What was going on over here?
We were talking before how Laurel and I have had to work through like trauma bonding stuff because we both kind of had a lot of childhood trauma, just different childhood trauma. I was sexually abused my entire childhood into like my teenage years. And so I was just disassociated, like completely out of my body. I was in like la la land. So
do you remember a point when you realized like what was going on?
Yeah, I was probably, now in hindsight, I realized that it was when I was 16, I tried to take my life. And Laurel was there. Again, we had a lot of trauma bonding. And
I'm the one that told your mom. I was like, she did something.
Yeah, my mom. Yeah.
It's like, Dana, I don't know if you want to do this, but I'm like, Dana, look
my mom's
at
dead.
her
It's fine.
eyes.
Yeah. And she wouldn't. So my mom like wouldn't.
Wait, really quick. What's your mom's name?
Dana.
And your stepmom?
Tana.
Oh,
yeah, no,
kind of confusing.
Different. Yeah, no, my mom's awesome. She's
we love your mom.
Yeah, she was great. But there was like a level of like, there's like a lot of layers, and like one day I'll be able to share my story with the full truth. It's just like there's a timing around it. I just don't want your podcast to be sent a cease and desist, so I'm not allowed to talk about the details right now. But that's happened before. That's why.
Oh, wow.
So
she won't mention names.
Yeah, I won't mention names. But definitely like teenage, I think, is when I realized, oh, this is like sexual abuse. Because like when you're a kid, you don't know.
Yeah.
And like you just think it's normal. And so once I was like older and I like started realizing what was going on, I was like, oh, this is like bad. And so that just like sent me in like a really worthless spiral. And yeah, when I was 17. I wasn't 16. I was 17. I tried to take my life. I kind of had like I don't know, like it just was a huge pivot in my life that I realized I did want to stay alive and I wanted to help people who had like been through what I'd gone through.
Wow. Yeah.
But like even looking back, I don't know how I had the awareness at 17 to know that like right now I wouldn't be able to heal from what had happened, but one day I would. And so I just needed to like stay alive. So I just like fell in love with traveling, and I did humanitarian work for years. It was like my bread and butter. Like I loved it so much. And then my mom died at 21, and that's when I realized like, oh, sorry, Laurel, I like wasn't that good of a friend. Like, you know what I mean? You didn't know until someone dies.
Oh yeah.
So
you don't know until you know.
No, I didn't know. And so when my mom died, I was like, oh my gosh, crap. And so
wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Just backtracking a little. So with the sexual abuse, so when you started like dating in high school, did you like kind of cope in that way too, or were you like the opposite?
Oh no.
Okay.
I did not.
Because it has like either one effect or the other. I've heard. You know.
No, mine was very much like I only read books and I watched One Tree Hill.
Did you tell anyone what was going on?
I tried. I actually tried to tell a bishop, which is like, you know, kind of the programming of growing up in religion, and didn't work out in my favor. And then when I was 22, I told 6 bishops, also didn't work out in my favor. It was handled pretty poorly, which is like, again, my relationship with religion is that when I was 8 years old, I knew to my core, I didn't vibe with religion.
Wow, cannot relate.
Like literally, I know, and most people are like, and so like
that's really cool.
That's
though.
one thing
I'm jealous.
I feel very grateful out of all the trauma. I didn't really have the religion in that sense because.
What about God?
I was always like a God person, and I've never really cared on what that meant. I think that was the gift. I always say like our struggles are our medicine, and there was so much. Obviously, child sexual abuse is horrible, but if there's something that I'm like, you know, I try to find the honey in everything because that's just like how I move forward and have perspective in life. And so the honey, I guess, was just like I was so disassociated and delusional that I wasn't really into the religion thing. Like I barely went to church. I served a mission. That was the only time I went to church every week. And so there was a level of like God was just like my world. Like I just got to make up what my beliefs were, I think, growing up, because like and we'll talk about like the channeling thing, I'm sure, but like dead people it was more familiar to me than like alive people.
Wow.
Like I was very just whatever the other side is, I just felt it every day.
From a young age.
From a very young age,
so cool.
Yeah. So like I had all my friends and I always felt safe. Like it wasn't a scary thing to me. And like I just had this whole world that I was familiar with, so that when the abuse was going on, I was in my world. So I felt very safe. I felt I was delusional as crap, but
It kept you safe.
it kept me safe. And so as far as like religion, I wasn't ever like too in it. I was kind of just like, I remember having this awareness at 8 or 9 that I was like, one day I'll be able to not do this, but I'm a kid, so I'm gonna have to do this for a while. But by the time I was old enough to make my own choice, it was pretty nice. I never got too strict with my belief systems, and I just knew that God was like love.
Did you tell anyone about this? Like, did it bug anyone in your life that you felt this way?
I mean, not really. I didn't really care. Like, I just don't even, like, I remember having a friend growing, like in high school, we had one friend that wasn't Mormon, and I just remember telling her, like, that's fine. Like, and, you know, our other friends were like, no, this is like, I remember at a very young age getting in a fight with my family that, like, if you were gay, you could get married in the temple. And they were like, no, you can't. And I was like, yeah, you can. Come on, chill out. Like, I remember just being like, everyone chill. Like, if this is true, you can, like, relax. So I've always kind of been that way. So maybe that annoyed people, but I didn't notice. I didn't care. But I also was just like, I was so traumatized that I don't think I was even having those kinds of conversations.
You weren't.
Yeah, like, I'm like, I don't even remember. I just remember being like laxed, and I just remember telling people like, God is love, like, who cares? And then obviously I served a mission, and that's when I was like, am I supposed to like have strict beliefs?
You served a mission?
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
Wait, where did you both go?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Ohio.
My brother went there.
Yeah. And I went to Ecuador. So it was Spanish speaking, so I didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
So there was also an aspect of I was also disassociated.
Yeah, I also served my mission Spanish speaking, and you had to teach the gospel in such simple terms. Like, I think if I would have gone English stateside,
that would have been hard.
So hard for me. All props to you.
Yeah.
Because like teaching Spanish, like everyone that I taught at least like didn't even have an education. Like I was literally teaching them the bare minimum, like the basics of basics.
Yes.
And so I feel like for me, it was like I never even like went that deep. You know?
I didn't either. I thought the law of chastity was like, you choose. Like, I literally didn't teach it. Like, I'm telling you, like, when people are like, how was it? Like, you're not in the church. I'm like, I don't know if you can say that I was in it. I didn't know what was going on. So by the time I was kind of like leaving it, it was, for me, the hardest part was more like community. But at the end, and I still feel like I'm super loose with my beliefs, which probably is annoying to people, but I also like, I'm super happy if people are Mormon, and I'm super happy if they're Jewish, and I just am like, I don't really care, to be honest.
Cool.
So I don't know. So I guess the gift of the trauma was that I just am very loose and very just like happy for whatever people want to believe. But that was kind of like my struggles or your medicine, and it's kind of led me to my career. So I feel like I look back at the trauma, and it's like, obviously it's like layers. Like, sexual abuse is every bit of traumatizing. Like, it really messes with you in so many layers.
Was it happening to anyone else in your family too?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I can only speak for myself, so I don't really know. And like, I didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So I like tried, but it's like, it's so, you don't really know what's going on either. So you don't even know how to ask for help.
Yeah. And then I was also sexually abused, and I feel like you feel guilty too. Like I don't know if you felt that, but I feel like
did I make
wrong.
this happen?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah, no, for sure. Like, it's for sure been like a whole thing, but it led me to my career and what I love to do every day now. So in a way, it's like, I can look back at it and like, it's not okay, obviously. And, you know, there's still so many layers with the person who abused me, but I feel like I'm at a place now where I just am moving forward in my life, and if layers come up, that's great. I have the tools, and I would love to just share those tools with people, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like I'm really grateful for not, I don't know, being a little bit disassociated as a kid, because more than anything, it was healing the beliefs.
Yeah.
Than the actual trauma, because I don't remember a ton, which is a gift, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah.
So when did you guys both like leave the church? At the same time?
No.
I did before you.
Yeah. I mean, what was I? Was I even in the church? I didn't go.
I know. That's what
I don't know what I was.
You served a full mission.
I served a full mission. That was the only time
what?
I ever went to church every week.
Her family, like, bloodline is like Heber C. Kimball.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I think it was more of like, and maybe I'm wrong,
No, mine was a
think
little
it was-
culty.
Yeah.
Like,
It was more like a little culty.
it was more a little
like
like I thought we were the chosen ones.
Oh,
okay. Was
Yeah.
it really the religion piece?
No,
was more
it
of, like,
wasn't.
the family line.
It was
Does that make
we
sense?
had our
Yeah.
own thing going on.
You were like, I'm on my way. I might be the prophet. I don't care.
Dude, I was like, here we go.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
she
do
had to unravel that
delusion.
stuff.
Yeah, that's actually what I unraveled was the delusion. It wasn't the church itself. So.
Okay, I had this thought, like I was talking to my friend the other day about this, that like I'm actually grateful that like I grew up feeling like I was a chosen one. Like
Yeah.
I'm grateful that like the Delulu started so young because I
Yeah.
still have that. I'm
Yeah.
still like,
Same.
I am highly favored of the
No,
Lord.
I literally
the
call it
universe or
Harry
whatever.
Potter syndrome. Like I think it's Harry Potter syndrome where we're
I
all
love
just
it.
like, am I better than everyone?
Literally.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, it's funny to laugh at now.
No,
but
it is. No, that was like that got me through a lot of my stuff too, because it was like this all happened for a reason.
Yep.
I'm on this pedestal. Everyone viewed me as such because
Yeah.
my other siblings went different ways, and I was like, nope, I'm holy and righteous, and that's where I'm going to get my love. And
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to get my attention. So, yeah, leaving the church was weird for me, but it all kind of like, it almost felt like I was riding a bike with training wheels. That's what it felt like my whole life. I was just riding a bike with training wheels, and then when I decided to leave, I just like took them off, and it really wasn't that like.
yeah, hers
obviously,
wasn't that bad
It
either.
was weird. Like it was a weird.
I think that's because like I don't know why,
don't know
because
either.
I do hear
Maybe-
people's stories and I
yeah.
have so much compassion, and it's really hard.
Maybe it's of course. Like there's a lot of religion deconstruction and stuff will come up, and I'm like, fuck the church, like whatever,
Yeah.
and I freak out and whatever. But all in all, it was like a really easy, just like leave. But
Yeah.
it might be because it was all trauma induced, and it was more of like a survival thing. than
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
Mine was
but-
just like, once my mom died, I was like, okay, I don't have to go anymore, which sounds horrible, but I'm serious. My mom was like I would have broken her heart. Like I would have, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Maybe I wouldn't have left the church if my parents were alive. Like I don't know. Maybe that because that's a lot of the reasons why.
Yeah, that
like,
for
I'll
me, it was
stay.
my mom, 100%. It was my mom.
Yeah.
So
No, I think it was when I was down with my stepmom telling me that I was a horrible person for making decisions, and I was like, "You're done." Oh yeah. Also, I'm done with the church. I think it went hand in hand.
Wow.
So-
You're just like releasing all of it.
Yep. I
See
was
ya.
like, see you later.
Yeah.
And that was in like I think it was 2020 or 2019. I was just like, nah, not anymore.
I don't think the church wanted me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, knowing who I am, the church is like, actually, we'd like you to leave. Like, we don't want you here. You are weird.
Something that's really weird to me, like when I was leaving, was so hard for me to process is that like I was able to go over the pulpit my whole life and like share what I love and what I believe.
Yeah.
But like now we can't do that, which is so
Yeah.
crazy, because it's not what they want to hear, even though it's
Yeah.
our truth still. And like I would love to do that, like
Yeah.
not in the Mormon church, but like I mean we all do that now.
Yeah.
But like it's crazy that like I loved doing that and everyone praised me for doing that, buried my
Yeah.
testimony, but now they'd be like, whoa, get her off the pulpit. Like, what is she doing? You know?
That's interesting.
Religion is super, super interesting.
Yeah, and it doesn't fit their narrative. But now, look, you have your own podcast. And
Yes.
you're doing it.
Preaching to the choir now.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
It's a safe space for everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
Different
true.
places. Yeah.
So, okay. And then how did you guys get into like your business and everything? Like how did that even start?
Oh my gosh. Should we talk
Are we missing anything?
No, we started, so like this is our second thing we've done. We did Koa after,
After her mom died.
What is it? Is it a grief program for kids? A camp?
yeah, we did it.
Wait, I
yeah.
heard about that.
Yeah.
You guys started that.
Yeah.
And did the camp and
Yeah.
it's done.
Yeah.
We
So,
quit, yeah. We
Did you like sell it? Like, is it still going?
No, we had there's some counselors that kind of are continuing it, but Laurel and I we realized like that's not our passion. And
Wait, this is so funny because you were talking about how passionate you are about like kids with grief, and I was gonna be like, did you hear about that company?
no, that was us.
Wait, guys, that is so impressive. That's so
we
cool.
It was great.
It was amazing.
super
I wanted to
successful,
go.
and
It was amazing.
I really wanted to go.
No, we
Yeah.
loved it for the time it
It was
existed.
beautiful.
How long did you do it?
3 years, 4
I think
years,
4 years, yeah.
4 years, yeah,
4 years.
Yeah.
And we just were so it goes back to the delusional thing.
We're very delusional,
Like
yeah.
we're just like we're going to start a grief camp,
And-
and then we just like kinda
yeah.
did it and raised like 15 grand in our first year.
Oh, we are insane. We
Wait.
just like we'll just decide things. The audacity comes probably from growing up Mormon.
Probably. It's like, well,
I just have the audacity.
Blessing said that
I'm Harry Potter. I can do whatever I want.
I'll do whatever I want. And
Literally.
So
Yes.
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
have my own magic wand and I'll do whatever I want. No, but it was, I think that like, I don't know. It's interesting because like I'm very passionate about grief and kids because it's like they're not okay, you know, just because like
you
they're
get it.
whatever. But I think that the reason why we stopped it, I mean, there's a lot of reasons, a lot of like synchronicity stuff, but we there was a kid that came like the 4th year like consistently and was like, I feel bad that I'm not crying. I feel bad that I don't feel bad. And we were like, shit.
Like it started turning into like, they were like, what if I'm not sad? Do I have to be sad? And then it was like, this isn't like what we feel is our, like what we want to do. Like struggles are our medicine. And it was like, well, we're not getting to the medicine. We're just kind of staying in the struggle.
Yeah.
And I think there's totally a place and a space there needs to be that. And that's so amazing that people feel called to that. That's just like Laurel and I are just naturally to our core more just like nonchalant, loosey-goosey, kind of just like, I don't know, more just like we wanted to play more in the creative side and the playful side. And like we like making jokes a lot about it. And
that's where we found our own healing.
Yeah.
Is through play.
We were being too serious in a way that wasn't authentic to us. And so we just knew we needed to bless and release it. And
because it's like trickle down energy. So like Gabi and I like weren't feeling,
and we were like I'm feeling stuck. And it was like I was 21 and my mom died, and like in a really weird way, like my mom dying helped me heal. Like my mom was my best friend in the whole world and like the most amazing woman literally ever. And there was an aspect of it that I could finally speak my truth. Not because she did anything, but I just didn't want her to be alive when I spoke my truth.
Totally. I totally get that.
So there was a level of like, there was a gift in it. And I felt so weird about that because it was like, I don't feel the same way.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel like a fraud kind of.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that makes sense. That sounds like
it
I
totally
hate my
makes
mom,
sense.
but
I feel
love
like
my
a lot
mom.
of people can relate to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was, Koa was a really cool thing. Like it was a beautiful thing. It was like the first thing that like, well, you were doing something else, but it was the first thing like I just did. And it was really cool for both of us. It was amazing. And like, we've always been passionate about community and connection and healing and support and play and love and all of these things. And it just went away that we weren't expecting and it didn't feel aligned. But like we said, like there's people who, they changed the name, and so it's like different, but it's like still
they're
mission.
still kind of carrying on the same mission.
Yeah.
So
I think I follow them on Instagram.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So cool.
We would have had you.
Yeah.
We would have had you.
Yeah. But yeah, now we're doing with Lost Girls. Well, Laurel and I kind of had to go through our own little bit like death rebirth of our friendship because there was a level of doing Koa that we were still kind of felt that trauma bond, like that codependency thing.
Yeah.
So that was a huge change in our relationship, and like the way that Laurel and I have navigated our friendship and being friends for so long is super honest communication.
That's
like,
so cool and so
not
rare.
taking things personally. That's a huge one where it's
huge.
like our love for each other matters more than anything else.
Which I think is so beautiful because me and Abby, my producer, talk about this all the time. That like friendships, like you don't go to therapy. Like something happens and it's kind of just like, okay, see you never.
I was thinking about that the
You
other
know?
day.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh, whatever. So that's really cool. You guys have built that friendship.
Yeah.
Starting in high school, there was stuff that went on that like...
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it, okay? Listen, I wasn't a very good friend in high school. I
didn't say anything.
I stole your boyfriend.
Yeah, there was some stuff.
No, I sucked.
But it was like, there was still...
It still brings it up to this day. I guess you're not over it.
But that was the first time. That was the first time we had a hard conversation when we were 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, like we had to save our friendship at 17 and then again at 22 and then again at...
Yeah, like we've done this a lot where
We've
it's
had
like
to
we
have-
hit these walls and it's like...
just really communicate.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Radical accountability. Like having to be like, okay, what is my part in this? Why am I triggered? What's going on? Like, where can I like show up and be vulnerable and be like...
Yes, it's so much honesty.
So much.
That I've never, like Laurel and I's friendship, I feel like has been kind of like the path for me to understand how to do other relationships because like I have more of an avoidant attachment style in a lot of ways.
Is yours anxious or?
I'm like disorganized.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we probably both are a little disorganized.
Yeah.
But like, I can definitely play anxious sometimes, but a lot of the times it's avoidant with friendships. And so
This is so crazy you're talking about this because I just realized like last week that I'm avoidant in friendships and in my romantic relationships I'm
anxious.
anxious.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And
That's
I've
interesting.
literally been avoidant my whole life with friendships and I've never known why. Like I keep all my
Yeah.
friends at a distance and
Yeah.
I did not like the stars did not align until
well, there's
this
a
week.
lot with like early programming, like gender of like mom or dad and how different genders you'll show up differently, which is like super crazy.
Yeah, I'm so avoidant with women and so not avoidant with men.
Yeah. Makes
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyways, so like Laurel and I have had to have a lot of super honest conversations, which led us to Lost Girls and led us to like our brand right now. And even in Lost Girls, we're still having to pivot. And it's just like the one thing that keeps us together is like we love each other above everything else. And so whatever like triggers we have, it's just like whatever, we know we're gonna work through it.
That's
and we're
so
just gonna
cool,
keep going.
guys.
So
Yeah.
that's what we've done to
Honestly,
get
congratulations.
to
I feel like that
I
is
know.
truly so rare.
Thanks.
Yeah.
It's like I was thinking the other day, I'm like, we're like sisters, but we don't like have the same family trauma. We don't have like that connection.
Yeah.
Whereas in like you can relate to your siblings about like,
Yeah.
how you were raised and all this stuff. But like we've just I don't know. It's been, and again, like we don't go to therapy with your friends. And I think that all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, let's work it through. Like
Yeah.
it's like let's like talk about, but
Yeah.
it's the radical honesty and accountability.
So much honesty,
letting
yeah.
your pride go.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
like, damn, the hardest thing. It's really hard. It's like I'm not right, maybe,
And not taking it personally in the sense that a lot of times your triggers are just like old survival strategies and it has it doesn't mean anything about who you are. It's
Yeah.
just like, okay, I'm playing a pattern out.
Yep.
Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I'm going to go clear that.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coming to the trigger with gratitude.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how we've gotten here. And now our brand is very much like
Play.
Lost Girls, play, delusion, whimsical. We're just
Yeah.
here for a good time.
I love it.
Yeah.
No, I don't even know how we, one day we just decided, I don't know. We
We just
kind of
do
like,
that. We just decide things and somewhere we find
Yeah.
the audacity.
We just love, like, I've always loved Narnia. I've always loved like Disney shows like that.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like you go into another world, right?
Yeah.
Alice in
Wait,
Wonderland.
have you seen A Little Princess?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Oh
my
my
favorite
gosh,
movie
that is
because it's
such a
like she's
cute
like
one.
so delusional.
Yes,
like it starts
that
at the
is-
beginning in India.
I love that one.
That's
Yes.
so cute.
That's a cute
wait, have you
one.
guys you've done plant medicine, right? Are you open about that?
Yeah.
Yes, totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you done ayahuasca?
No.
Okay,
gone
ayahuasca
that
took
far.
me to that scene in India in A Little Princess.
Really?
Literally so crazy. But that delusion. Like I feel like those movies are like 13 going on 30.
Yeah.
How when
Love
she
that
goes
movie.
back to her inner child, she's like so much
Yes.
cooler and
Yeah.
kind and loving and like
Yeah.
like I love those movies that just like
Oh,
Yeah.
No, same.
No,
like that.
same.
I love it. And that's kind of like where I think like going back to our childhood, it's like we just know like joy and play is the answer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
creativity, being able to have fun and not take things too seriously. Like,
Yeah.
Because our 20s, we did that. And like we
We
went
did the
like
serious
I
thing.
did the medicine wheel in shamanism. And so like that was for a year, like did that whole spiritual thing after I left the church.
Yeah, we did the spiritual thing too.
Yeah.
We
did
said
everything.
religion, now spirituality, and then we
Yeah.
said, "Oh, why are we in the same place?"
And then we said, wait, all right.
Why? How did we get to the
Pivot.
same place?
Let's go back. So
And then we just said, who cares? And that's
Yeah.
where we are now.
it's like just play and like finding your inner child, your inner artist, like being
Yeah.
able to realize that you have the power inside of you and
Yes.
no one else does.
Yeah.
No one
for
else
yourself.
does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
and are your husbands just like totally on board and like love this? Aww.
Yeah.
They support fully.
Yeah,
They
they're
don't know
like,
what we're talking about half the time.
Nope, never. And they say, awesome. So
No, I
supportive.
love it. Seth
Yeah.
will go and like we'll be at a party or something and he'll be like, Laurel's doing this and this and this, and I'm like, you didn't make sense.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Yeah.
But you're so supportive, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's like that's all that we want. You know?
Yeah.
We just want to feel loved and supported and not judged, and for what we like to do. So.
Yeah, I do like channeling sessions, and my husband, when he came into my life, he asked for one. I thought he was like so into it, and I was like, so we did like some sessions, and then we got married. I'm like, oh, do you want me to do like a session? He's like, oh, I just actually did that because I wanted to date you. Like, I don't actually like do your thing, but like that's not my thing. And I was like, what? I thought he was like so into it. No, couldn't care less.
So
couldn't care less. He
funny.
just said I just want to go on a date. I don't know.
I know Gabby and I like love like our own.
We're in our own world.
Yeah, we don't like need anyone else to like it, I guess.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Lost Girls, it's like we want to do like Neverland retreats and make like programs for feminine alchemy and just like stuff like that. We're just like
Alice in Wonderland, Wendy from Peter Pan. Just this idea of like you're going on a journey and you're discovering your medicine and just having fun, community, like just kind of connecting back to like those fun moments in childhood when you're just like playing night games and just playing with your friends and painting, and like we just want that and like an adult version.
I love it. That's so cool.
That's kind of what we want our brand to be. So
just a magical brand.
Yeah.
So what are your like, you guys do like manifestation sessions. Tell me all the things you do and then I want you to walk us through.
Yeah.
Totally.
So before, I guess like in my early 20s, I realized like I wasn't getting like a lot of the results I wanted in life from just doing like talking therapy. So I went on this deep dive with like subconscious work and got licensed as an NLP practitioner. And then I also do channeling, like I said, from childhood. I was super disassociated, and that was kind of like the gift that came from it. Is just I feel very connected to the other side, but I also am very loose about it. And so I kind of combined those. So in manifestation sessions, I channel for people. We'll channel multiple life paths, loved ones that show up, and then whatever they're wanting to manifest, we'll just clear subconscious blocks around it. So that's kind of like the sessions that I do. And Laurel and I, there was a time where we did do sessions together, and then you can kind of talk about where you're at.
Yeah. So yeah, we did we did sessions. Like it was really fun. And like I love astrology and human design and stuff. Yeah. It's like fun for me to talk about with friends and stuff. I never thought it would be something that I would like want to pursue career wise, because I just view it as fun. But when we started Lost Girls, we were like, let's just do something to just get started.
Yeah, let's just do something.
Yeah. And so we started doing that, got a lot of really cool opportunities. And so we kept doing that. And then I hit a point where I was like, I don't think I like this. Like, I was like, this doesn't bring me joy. Yeah. It's not my thing. And it actually makes, like, what I like astrology and stuff, it makes that not fun.
Like a chore almost. Yeah.
And so I kind of, like, had to trust my gut and be like, okay, like, I feel like I don't want to do it. And then I got pregnant. And I was knocked off my feet for the whole month of November into kind of now. But it was kind of the universe's way, I think, for me to be like, hey, you need to knock it off and stop trying to do a spiritual business. Because I feel like I was trying to do that all of my 20s. Because Lost Girls isn't to us.
It's not really spiritual. It's just fun.
It's just fun, and it's healing by play. It's healing by joy. It's healing by going on your own journey and just having fun. Yeah. Anyways, so, and I feel like I was like, okay, I really am not supposed to be doing this. And so I kind of stopped, and that's where we've kind of had to like readjust and pivot and have, figure out what we want to do and all of that.
And so my biggest fear for so long was like doing something on my own. Like I've always liked to collab or partner with people. And so there was like also this gut knowing that I have to have something on my own. Like it's just part of like my growth. And so there was a level of Laurel getting pregnant that forced me to start doing sessions on my own, which was unbelievably uncomfortable. But for the first time, because I've always had this huge fear of showing myself, like showing my delusional side. I think my programming growing up was very much like my parents were super education and just like logical, analytical. That's where that's success. And so I'm not logical or analytical. I'm very delusional. And so I say like the subconscious is delusional because it's not logical. And so that's kind of my bread and butter. And I finally feel like I'm pursuing it and making a career out of it. And I feel like this is the first time I've ever experienced what people say when they've like are receiving and they're doing what they're supposed to do and they're getting results. And I don't know, this is the first time I've ever felt like I could do something on my own. So it was weird that we were forced to kind of almost like do our own thing, but we still have Lost Girls. And like Laurel is also on the path of like doing things from like for her brand and just everything she experienced around grief. And so it's cool because we're both wanting to have our own brands, but then have Lost Girls. Cool. So it's like... That. It's a lot of
I think that's super important to have your own thing and then have a thing together.
Hence the working on our codependency.
It's like, how can you not like how can you not want to just like, if you have someone that like has similar thought patterns as you, like you've grown up with, and it's like, why not just do something
that's
together?
scary for you guys.
It's hard. And it's also like, it's us being like, having integrity for Lost Girls, because Lost Girls never really was supposed to be the channeling thing. We just had opportunities come in that we just like couldn't say no to. So we came together and we did it. And then all of a sudden we kind of mixed it a lot into Lost Girls. So now we're kind of in the pivot of like, okay, we have to bring Lost Girls back to its original
like
goal, which is like the fantasy, Narnia, Neverland. And then I'm going to kind of do the channeling thing on my own.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, I love that so much.
Yeah. And she's doing so good.
That's
like,
very nice.
Everyone should schedule with her.
Stares into the camera. I'm so scared.
Please just delete everything I do. But no, she's literally the best coach.
Very nice.
Like the best channeler. I could scream it from the rooftops. Like she really is the best.
You're the best.
No, don't give me another compliment. I just said one.
Thanks.
Accepted. Thank you.
I love you guys. This is a perfect duo.
Yeah.
This is so fun.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you, Gabi. Kind of going back to like your sexual abuse.
Yeah.
So like your you were sexually abused like all of your childhood into your teens, right? When did it stop?
It's like it's always I think 16.
16. Okay.
But like it's really hard to know like when the last time was. That's like, sounds weird, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think 16.
And you were probably like so just like not there.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. But I just wanted to know how like that you were able to work through that in like your sexual relationships moving forward with other people.
100%. So
and is it still something you deal with today?
For sure. Like it's definitely like a layered thing. And I always say like,
sorry, I keep interrupting you.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, it's like the church programming that we had. Like on top of all of that,
the church
like
programming.
you are an object kind of. And then, Okay.
So there was an aspect of like, in my early 20s, like I was saying, like, I read The Body Keeps the Score for the first time, and it blew my mind away. The fact that like when we go to talking therapy, we're not engaging our trauma brain because the trauma brain isn't verbal. So I always say it's like going to the doctor and your left arm is broken, but the doctor helps you strengthen your right arm. So your right arm gets really good at supporting the left arm, but it doesn't heal the left arm.
Wow.
So once I realized that, I was like, okay, I can't just do talking therapy. I have to do something else because I want different results. And the results I was getting was that anytime I was near a guy, I wanted to throw up. Like, I just couldn't date. I was super nauseous. I'd sabotage everything. Like, I never really dated a lot, to be honest, because I was so scared of it and so scared of intimacy. And so I just kind of set the intention that I wanted to learn more about the subconscious. And I found two of the most amazing women in the world. Their name, I'm going to give them a shout out. Michelle Wilding and Amanda Nelson. They were my coaches who taught me NLP. And it changed my life. So like NLP is just like the study of the subconscious. It's just subconscious language and understanding how the subconscious speaks. I just started rewiring and reprogramming my brain. And so I would take all of my belief systems around intimacy, around sex, around even just like everything that goes into being sexually abused and our perspectives that we take from it. And I just went and rewired it. And so obviously there's layers that come up, but it is night and day difference. Like
that's so cool.
Night and day. So that's kind of what I've done to heal from the abuse is subconscious work. So,
and have you had like a ton of communication with your husband now just to like,
I mean,
like
it's more so, yes. And I'm also the type of person that I just clear it. Like, I'm like, I could sit and talk to you about how I'm feeling, or I'm just going to go clear it and then we can move forward.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of like, I realized I love storytelling, and sometimes that can play into drama. And sometimes I'll get, like Laurel knows this, sometimes I get stuck in like a story that's like, you could have just gone and cleared the belief and we didn't have to go through the trigger process. Because sometimes I like to just go clear it before I have a conversation with friends or people. Because,
and how do you clear it?
I can teach you. Like literally, it's like one of my favorite methods. It's called Hockelau, and you're literally just zoning out. You're dropping into a lower brainwave state, and it disorganizes the memory. So simple. NLP is like dumb easy, and that's why I'm like, I don't know why this isn't taught in schools, because it's so easy to clear, but it's not a good business model. It doesn't make money because you can actually heal. So there's a level of like, I don't do the whole like like there's an aspect of honesty, yes, that's important, but then it's also like the nail in the head thing where it's like, I don't want to sit and tell them about the nail in the head when I could just go clear the belief.
My favorite video ever.
Yes, like literally. And that's what I feel like sometimes we do in the mental health world is we just talk about the problem.
Totally.
It's like, just clear the problem, just go clear the belief. So that's kind of my method. And like, obviously I do have avoidant attachment, so I'm still working through that. But I would say I've come really, really far and I'm proud of myself. And then you mentioned the church thing. That was the gift of the delusion is I didn't really I didn't really go to church. So I didn't really get that level of indoctrination other than from my mom. And that was so much more just like me working through beliefs around my mom. But the church itself, I'm telling you, like, I wasn't there. I didn't go to church. Like in second grade, I used to walk home after sacrament. So
She always hated it.
I always hated it.
Wow.
In school.
Yeah.
You couldn't find me at either place. So
I cannot relate. I wish I could relate.
I know. I was the same.
Yeah,
I feel like
the
we're
gift.
similar. Like church was my safe place. That was the only place I felt
That
safe
makes sense.
ever.
Totally.
You know?
I'm like that.
Now complete opposite. I go to like church on Christmas and I'm like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here?
That would be really hard to unravel though if that was your safe place.
Yeah.
Like, that's really hard.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And like I remember when I left, I would kind of miss it. Like on
Yeah.
Sundays.
Yeah, I
'cause, like,
bet.
I didn't go home to family stuff ever. So it was
Yeah.
just like, what am I gonna do today?
No,
You
for
know?
sure. Yeah.
Yep, loved girls.
No,
camp.
I don't even think about it. That's so crazy.
I did love
guys.
Girls Camp though.
Oh, me
was
too.
fun. I loved
Do you guys
Girls
listen to Girls Camp
Yes.
ever?
Yes.
I love
Yeah.
Laurel.
Yeah, we
She's so
love it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to think of what else do we want to talk about. Let's see. I love you guys.
I don't know. It's just so fun. Thanks for being such a safe space.
Yeah, this is so fun.
Okay.
Did I say enough about like how to grief after? Like how to do it? How to handle it?
Maybe we can just tap into it a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't.
remember
We've talked
what I
about so
said.
much. I can't
I
remember.
know, I can't remember what I,
I
said.
know, me
I just want
either.
to make sure.
I told her I'm
didn't
microdosing today too, so I'm like,
Oh my gosh. wait,
So
that's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah.
I do
so
it for every
jealous.
episode, and it really helps me.
No,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Microdosing.
best.
Yeah. Wish I could do that.
You can't?
She's pregnant.
Because I'm pregnant. Unfortunately. That's literally.
Just give the baby a little party.
But also, though, are they just going to come out smarter? Like, what's
Yeah.
going to happen?
To be fair, what do we know? Yeah.
It
Like,
could
you can
help.
take an antidepressant, but you can't microdose?
No, I know.
Or smoke weed. It's like, come on. Like,
Someone's
there's-
lying.
Someone's not.
Yeah.
There's not adding up.
Yeah.
But I'm not testing it.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not going to be the guinea
Yeah,
pig,
literally.
but someone's lying.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
Okay, Laurel, I want you to just tap a little bit into like your process of grief and how you, I don't know, just any thoughts
Yeah.
you have on that. I'd
Yeah.
love for you to share.
I've always played with the idea of like, is childhood grief worse than adult grief, vice versa? Like I've always kind of like, I've been curious with that thought just because it is so different, even though kids are still experiencing grief just in a different way.
Yeah.
It's more of like I don't want to say maybe nonverbal, because a lot of kids don't know how to communicate, how they're feeling. And so they're drawing pictures at therapy and they're, doing art and music and all of this stuff.
Wait, quick question. Have you done NLP with kids? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Teenagers specifically. It's really awesome. And so I think that what I've kind of come to the conclusion of is, as a kid dealing with the grief, I don't know if I did that as a kid. I don't, like Gabi said, it's like, I don't think I was given a space to do that. Like there wasn't except my friends and school and church, like anything out of my home, I would just like, and I didn't want to deal with it there because I was having fun, and I was connecting and all of that stuff. And so I think being an adult, that's when it hits you in your 20s, when it says you have issues that you have to figure out. And I think that being able to, because shame and guilt was a really big emotion growing up. And so being able, like if an emotion comes up for me, even now, it's like, hey, I'm just going to love myself through it and let myself feel it and not be like, you suck. This happened so long ago. Like, why would you like continue to cry? Or, why are you still hitting up against this wall? And I think that's the biggest shift for me, is that perspective of just like loving myself through it and not shaming myself through emotions with grief. And I didn't think I realized I did that until like a year ago, because stuff would come up and I would be like, why is this still coming up? You know? And I seriously did not realize I was doing it because, again, we were in the like mental health healing world for so long, and that was like the one thing I don't think I actually addressed was like my own emotions and letting myself feel them. And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing with any sort of healing journey is being able to feel your emotions.
Yeah. And I think grief, like, everybody feels grief. I think sometimes we think of it as like someone passing away. Yeah. But like there's so many different aspects to grief. Like
so many.
Losing a job that you loved or like a breakup or, you know, so many different things. But then we try to like put grief over here, like grief of someone dying here and like other stuff. Oh, that's not grief.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been, I think I'm like clicking in my head of why this happened this past year was I had 2 miscarriages in this past year and I didn't really like address my emotions in the moment. I have a really hard time doing that. Like I still to this day, I'm like, I'm really good at navigating like traumatic circumstances and like crises where I'm like, all right, let's figure it out. Like my brain, and I'm really good at that. It also excludes me being able to feel in the moment.
Totally.
But you've come so far.
Thank you.
You're a lot better.
Thank you very much. But yeah, my miscarriages were a really big eye opener for me because it hit me like now, honestly, like when I'm pregnant again and it's been healthy so far and it's like, oh, I don't think I actually like sat with that and realize what emotions actually came up during that time. And so, just thinking about grief, like that just goes along with it where it's like, let yourself feel. Like that's my advice to anyone. If they ask for it, if they're experiencing any sort of grief, it's like, let yourself freaking feel whatever that is.
And I also think something I've noticed about people in my life that have lost someone is that they don't, like they need you when it first happens, but they really need you like 6 months down the road, a year after, because everybody else forgot. Yeah. And then like, as you're saying this, I'm thinking like they probably feel like shameful for still feeling sad and still feeling so horrible, maybe even feeling worse than they did in the beginning, you know, even though it's been a whole year, like get your stuff together, you know, but like,
totally.
Especially like those checkpoints in life, like when you get married or have your first kid, like it brings up another wave of grief. And it's just like, I don't know. Like I can't imagine losing someone as a child because I feel like it's different as an adult. I'm not trying to like downplay grief for anyone, but like just as a child, that's like your safety. Oh. So it's like it really messes.
Yeah. Like that's,
it's like you're on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Especially because I feel like you never probably, no matter who you had in your life, your sisters or your stepmom, like it's not a parent. So it's like
so different.
This unconditional love from someone, you probably didn't feel like you could really get that from anyone besides yourself.
Yeah.
And you probably had to learn that.
Yeah. And like now it's like now I'm building up my self-esteem and my confidence and loving myself in my 20s where it's like, I feel like with complex trauma, it feels like, I don't know if it feels like you're like late in the game to like, what's the word? Adulting, you know, it kind of feels like it's taken me a while to like get stuff that people maybe got in their early 20s. Does that make sense?
Totally.
And it's like, I've also had to give myself grace for that. I'm like, why am I not like farther in life or learning this? And it's like, I had a lot of shit that I had to deal with, you know, and, again, the grace thing, like being able to give yourself grace and just love yourself and be like, you know, you experienced this and now you're experiencing this and just keep on going.
Yeah.
So grief is a bitch.
Yeah.
That's it.
Grief is a bitch. It's so true. And it's just something so crazy because it's completely out of our control and we don't really understand it. We don't know exactly what happens when we die. And like, it's almost like it was nice being so delusional in the church because you're like, you knew exactly what was going to happen. You knew exactly where your parents were, you know?
That was like, I would not let that go. Just like the eternal family, you know what I mean?
Oh,
it's like,
that would be so hard.
To my parents again. Like, it's like, I have to do everything right. I have to like, it was just like I had to be so on top of everything, perfect at everything, couldn't mess up, couldn't swear, I had a boyfriend before I went on my mission and it was the most horrific experience because he like touched my boob or something or my butt, like it was literally nothing, and my stake president was horrific, said my mission would be delayed, like asked me gnarly questions in our interview.
Of course.
Just like disgusting. And I've never felt so shameful full and guilty and depressed ever than in that moment.
For doing things your body was literally made to do, especially at that age.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like insane. And he was like, you have to break up with them or else you can't go on your mission. And I'm like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, anyway, so that whole time period was so depressing. And like, even the first little bit of my mission. And how did I start talking about that? I can't remember. But it's like, yeah, just shame and guilt and all of that. Just everything on top of it. So, yeah.
Okay, I have 2 more questions for you guys. I want to know like different things that you guys have manifested, maybe like silly or like really cool or like just important to you.
Yeah.
And then question I ask everyone: if there's one thing you could have everyone in the world understand, what would it be? And I want both of you to answer. Okay.
Do you want to start with the manifestations?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a few things. We were just talking on the way up here. I feel like the thing with manifestation is like being able to hold the vision that it's going to happen and then executing it as well. So it's not like the sitting and waiting. It's kind of the delusion, as you will, maybe just being like, I'm going to get this no matter what. I think manifestation is a combo of action and non-action, right? It's kind of trusting, it's all of that. But, I've manifested a car fully paid for when I was like 22 years old, fully just paid off. My boss gave it to me. Wow. Yeah. I like really needed a car. Like my other car was breaking down. I was like, what am I going to do? Like I don't have support financially. Like got a car. I've won so many Instagram giveaways. It's hilarious. Like, I know it's so stupid, but it's like, I'll enter all of them because I'm like, I will win. And I don't care. Like, I'm like, and it's so silly, but like, I love the Killers so much. And this was like 3 years ago or something. And I entered one of the, what is it now? It's the Delta Center, but like one of those contests. And we got like concert tickets and, like a free hotel stay or whatever. And I was like, I know I'm going to get this because I love the Killers so much. And like, I know that they're going to like let me win. I don't know. It's just like such a weird like mindset. And I really do think it's delusion. And the other thing, like I've won a lot, but like the other thing I love is cheesecake. And
cheesecake, bagels, and the Killers.
Yes, exactly.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know about me. But I won a cheesecake on Instagram and I was freaking out. Like it was like the best day of my life. I was like, no way. I was in the car with Gabi when I won it. She's like, what the freak is going on? Like, 'cause I was just like screaming. But I think it goes to show like what you love and that energy of love in general, like will get you what you want.
And it's something like not being shameful about it. Like being so excited like a giddy little kid. I think it's so important.
100%.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
My husband was stoked too. Like we got a freaking huge cheesecake, but just stuff like that. Like just, whatever you love and just go for it, and if it doesn't work, then who cares? Something else is meant for you, you know? Let it go, on to the next. So that's mine.
Manifestation. I always say like something about like manifestation that I feel like I learned from the subconscious is that we're like manifesting all the time because our subconscious's main goal is to fulfill our deepest belief systems. But oftentimes we manifest from childhood trauma or programming. So whenever I like want to manifest something, I'll decide what it is and then I'll just clear any beliefs around it. And then it's like, okay, it's happening.
Oh,
so
that's so beautiful.
Literally like right now, I have like 3 in the works. I can't say them yet because I think they might happen in like 2 or 3 months and you guys will see, but it will happen. Okay. Just wait. But one of my favorites just ever is I hated like dating. Like obviously we just talked about all the trauma, but I also loved studying. And so I'd always just be in my room studying and people would always be like, how are you going to find someone if you're always in your room? And I'd be like, my husband will come into my room. And they were like, that's so stupid. And literally my husband came into my room and brought me Taco Bell. So
so cute.
Like literally I said, I'm not going to date. So my husband will come to my room. And he did. He was like friends with my roommates and came in, brought Taco Bell, and I said, hi. And then we got married like a year later.
So freaking cute.
So that's my favorite manifestation.
And that's on Gabi clearing her subconscious beliefs and getting that.
Yeah, I literally just decided, I was like, I'm not leaving, so he'll come here.
I'm just shocked.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's my favorite. And then you said one thing.
If you could have everyone in the world understand one thing, what would it be?
I'm gonna be cheesy, like the subconscious. Like literally, I think it should be taught in schools. And once you learn that, life is so much easier. That's it.
Yeah.
Just learn the subconscious.
I know I'm like repeating myself because we've talked about it so much, but I just feel like realizing that play and just joy and just enjoying this life that we've chosen to live, like just experiencing it, and that's it. And that's the healing. That's it. That's the medicine there. Just have fun.
And I feel like going along with that, like it's so important to realize like you have to live your life for you, not for everybody else. Because true joy comes from living for you.
Exactly.
You know?
For your own yourself.
Yeah.
Because it is not anyone else's life.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, beautiful ladies. I'm going to tag you guys and everything so people will find you, all the things. And we always end the episodes in the name of vulnerability. Amen.
In the name of vulnerability. Amen.
I've actually never had the guests do that with me. So
no, I love
fun.
that.
That was great.
We wanted to.